for the pride. To be the best, you gotta beat the best. The story of a legend.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's time to go to the elimination match here. This is Solar versus ByuN. I can't believe I'm saying that. I thought we were going to be casting this one best of 3 ago. One of these two is about to be eliminated, and I got to say, it's very possible that today Solar just doesn't make it out, which is wild. I mean, he was by far the most voted likely to advance here. This is supposed to be an easy group for him, but it's not looking easy now.
He was a GSL champion just a couple of seasons ago. Last season got knocked out in the round of 16, and now here in Group D of Season 2. Already down in the elimination match after what was a pretty tough series against DRG, but Solar, he's still one of the best Zerg players in the world, and honestly, between him and ByuN, I'm really not sure who I give the advantage to in this one, because Nightmare versus ByuN just kind of looked a little bit confused about how to approach what Nightmare was doing. He tried the same build again because he thought it was the right answer, but it just didn't seem to line up well against Nightmare's style of play. And I know it's a different matchup, but it just didn't seem very confident or very strong or very coherent in terms of an approach to the matchup and an approach to the opponent in a preparation-based tournament. And then Solar on the flip side, I know him as a ZBZ specialist going back like almost a year ago, 2023. He was a killer in that matchup. And then DRG, it felt like just kind of outclassed him with some very small finesse plays and strategy. And so both these guys, who on paper I think are the favorites, I think most people would agree were the favorites to advance from this group, now down here, and I really don't know who to give the edge to. And I know this is ZVT, it's going to be a different matchup than the ZVZ or the PBT previously, but I'm not really sure. I'm worried for ByuN if he advances from this that he will still not be able to solve the puzzle that is Nightmare and PBT right now, because that first best of 3 was rough. But Solar, I think if he wins, has a very good shot of winning ZVP. Because Nightmare, not very good against DRG there. I have to say, that 4-gate adept build, I mean, something we've seen a million times before. It did not work for him. So Solar, I mean, I think if you're in Solar shoes right now, you're looking at ByuN as kind of the first real opportunity. You take this guy down, you might be booking your ticket along with DRG into the round of 8. Let's see if that's going to be the fate here as we start the elimination match of Group D.
Okay, here in the bottom left is Solar, and the top right is ByuN.
Oh, and of course you're doing this, ByuN.
Yeah, he's going to do that double racks. Terran Forever, again, from Chile. Welcome, Sweden. I see all your signs. I see the cheese in the back. Don't need to read that one.
The ByuN sign right there. So many ByuN fans here in the audience. ByuN and Solar.
I know, right? It is a surprise from Germany.
I like that sign.
I know. Yeah, kind of a funny day here, but you know, it's important to remember. Like I have to remind myself of it that like every GSL, the landscape does change, right? You know, the people that you're used to seeing win, they might not be on top anymore. But I like what you were saying, State, earlier, that like if Solar wins here, I think he probably gets out.
Yeah, if Nightmare plays to the same caliber he played against DRG, I think Solar can beat that.
I think Solar can do even better, to be honest. DRG had like a really planned out day of games. Like it's everybody's, if you've ever prepped for a match, like you'll know this experience where it's like everything went according to plan. It's like, okay, I was like the director of this game. And every move I made prompted the next thing that they needed to do, and they played right into my hands, and that just felt like what DRG's group was. But I think that Solar is actually still bigger, better, faster, stronger than these guys if we have enough games played here. But it's going to have to start with ByuN.
ByuN did look a little bit lost there in TVP against Nightmare, but TVZ, completely different beast, especially ByuN being kind of the specialist that pioneered this 2-racks Reaper opening here on the low ground in Legacy of the Void. We'll see exactly how he does it, because everyone kind of adds their own a little bit of flavor to this build. Some people make just a couple of Reapers, some people will go up to like 4 or 5 and really go to try and cancel, or potentially even kill that third hatchery. Some will kind of try to bait out the queen and go for the snipe there. ByuN still continuing on Reaper production, so I believe he's going to go up to at least, I think that's the 4th one. That's queued up, and Solar with a ton of lings, actually sustaining a fair bit of damage, really.
Yeah, and it's a dance we've seen, you know, a million times before. We've got that command center coming along here. The Reaper is just going to try to get even a couple lings is going to be nice.
Oh, and there's just actually 3 Reapers here, huh?
Yeah, this is the standard ByuN play, right? Get the 3 Reapers out. You harass, but you're also basically making it impossible to take a 3rd base. It always feels like now with this build, it seems like it's less active. You can see the drones hiding, by the way.
Ooh, nice quick snipe.
Part of it's that Zergs no longer immediately throw down the hatchery because we've mathed out that, in fact, 3 Reapers can delay this. Oh! Okay.
Better hide.
Yeah.
That drone's playing a little survival horror game right now in the corner.
Yeah, that's right. It's Solid Snake under the cardboard box right now. He is going to slip up here.
Finally gets that 3rd base planted. Yeah, and actually going 3 CC behind this as well. Probably the Hellions to pair up with these Reapers, I would imagine. Just have the gas to make Cyclones, but it will in fact be those Hellions. Solar made a fair number of lings, actually 13 in total here with speed. Might have been anticipating ByuN going for a little bit more than 3 Reapers in this situation, but instead going to see the 3 Reapers, see the wall, and have a pretty good idea that Hellions are underway.
So now we got to wait. You know, the Reaper threat's basically gone. The creep can finally stretch out onto the map. That's another feature of this build, is the 3 Reapers basically prevent that. He is going to come down again. It's going to be double eBay into 3 command center, which means you're only investing in the future and really not putting anything into the present. We don't seem to see Zergs do anything crazy at this phase of the game. I feel like there was a period a couple of years ago where we did have these, like, even weird stuff like Nidus Worm attacks, and it seems like they were working and then they stopped working, and now we're in this period in the meta where, like, Terrans are super greedy. I'm not saying that this should be a way or not, but I'm just saying, like, it seems like Terrans really just go full-on greed, and Zergs are not interested in punishing. And maybe the truth is, you know, in the ecosystem of the ladder, it's been labbed out enough that it doesn't work that often.
I think that the Cyclone rework really kind of just threw a wrench into the plans of Zerg to go for any kind of all-in, because Roach Ravager, well, it can work in very large numbers. You just don't often see those pushes anymore because the Cyclone is so good at microing and shutting it down in the early game. And yeah, you're right. As a result, oftentimes if Terran wants to go for something really greedy, they can get away with it. Every once in a blue moon, we will have that punish come through from the Zerg, but that is not going to be the case in this game. Instead, both players is powering up, and the way that ByuN is playing this, I'm imagining it's probably going to lead up to a 2-2 timing, I would think. It seems like that's the way that the 3rd command center would pay for itself in terms of army value, and the fast 1-1 will turn to 2-2. Then have a guaranteed upgrade advantage going into the opponent. So it's going to be a little bit of a slow burn until that stage. And ByuN with these very rapid units, the 4 Hellions and the 3 Reapers. I don't know why I can't say Reapers. I think I got tripped up yesterday saying Reapers when I wanted to say Reavers, and now I'm afraid of I've like traumatized myself into not knowing how to say this word anymore.
Over yourself here.
But actually, look at this.
It's going to be a little Hellbat
Marines
push.
with 1-1. Oh, this is not what I expected at all.
Yeah,
this is a
cute.
cool push.
I like this. Special Forces coming in here.
Yeah, this is like the most ByuN attack of ByuN attacks.
Yeah.
Oh, this is sick.
Yeah, I like this. It's like just enough Hellbats that it can kind of make a wall.
His stim just finished. All right, he's stimming forward. These are 1-1 Marines against non-upgraded Zerg. Hellbats here in the front. There's a good number of Ling Bane. No upgrades there on those Ling Banelings. No speed to be found either. And for now, ByuN just kind of forcing a lot of units. Not really able to find the damage he needs to make the push, but this is some great pressure with units that you're already just going to naturally make, right? Leading into 2-2.
Now, I mean, here's the truth, though. It hasn't done that much. It's sort of making a lot of noise outside of the 3rd base, but it hasn't really actually accomplished very much. He's going to come in again. I think Zerg's going to be okay. I like the neat little timing and the set of units, but it hasn't done anything so far.
It's very cute, though.
It is cute. No,
it's one of my favorite pushes that I've seen all year.
I'm attracted to these kind of builds. Where I'm like, oh, well, look at that. What is this funny little thing you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is going for double engineering bay for 1-1 with a really fast 3rd command center like this is the 1-1 timing. You never really have that match. Ooh, Baneling speed finishes, and ByuN is able to evacuate the majority of his forces just in the nick of time.
But overall, not too impactful. Three more barracks are going to be thrown down here.
At the end of the day, it still will be 2-2 that is the big timing, I think, for ByuN more than anything else. But that was a kind of cute way of maneuvering here in the early game and finding some damage, dampening the drone production there for Solar a little bit, as he really didn't get up to the 80 or 90 workers that he wanted to. He just sat at 70 and some change for a little while because of the army knocking on his door. But both players powering up right now. Solar going to be going for the more classic Hydraling Bane style that we're seeing gaining in popularity over the past couple of 6 months.
Okay, and an unload over here. And, I mean, you know, it looks like he's going to at least get rid of the Spore. Again, not really.
Medevac.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh, no.
It falls on the bridge.
Oh, they're saved.
I didn't know it could land there. I didn't know the debris
They
could
could just
crash on
take
that.
the subway all the way back to the top
That's
right
right,
corner
yeah.
of the map.
They just got to open that tunnel that bridge connects to. Look, so far, not so good for ByuN. He's barely made a dent. It's, you know, one thing about the best Zergs, if you guys have heard my cast for a long time, you probably heard me say this, but it's like the really best Zergs, it feels like you can't leave your base and get anything done. You know what I mean? You're like, is there ever a moment where I can be on the map and do something? It feels like they're just always ready. They always have enough. And this is kind of looking like one of those games.
Yeah, this feels a little bit awkward. I mean, the way these builds normally line up with a fast third command center and with really quick double engineering bay is that you have some kind of window with 2-2. Oh my goodness, please hold position this medevac. But like that timing is almost come and gone. 2-2 has been done for about 30 seconds now, and only at this moment has been actually moving across the map, but maybe he will be able to get something done. He's inching his way closer and closer to that triangle third, which is a really important junction on this map, and a timing where Solar is quite vulnerable. The creep spread is not that strong. 2-2 is still not yet complete, about halfway done, so it's going to be a ways away too. But this counterattack has huge potential on ByuN's side of the map, Tasteless.
Yeah, this counterattack is a lot. I mean, keep in mind that ByuN's basically maxed out. The only thing that can fight that is whatever's going to be popping out of the barracks and the factories. And there's just so much over here.
It might be a little bit of a base trade, though, because I don't think Solar has enough at home to stop this army. He's going in the hive tech. The hive just now finished. The lurker den is almost complete, so no lurkers on the field just yet.
Yeah.
And the army that Solar has, if ByuN micros perfectly, it can't really contest right now, but at the same time,
you know, it's 2 base to 3 base. There is this like weird base at the bottom right that I actually think ByuN's probably not going to see.
yeah, it's very awkward.
The 6 o'clock base is going to be taken. This was like Solar was doing so well that he just took so much of the map that this hidden base could actually play a huge role later on here. I don't know that you know that Terran can push much further into this.
Yeah, 2-2 is done now, and look at this 360 surround coming in from Solar. The Baneling connections at the very front line are good. Oh, even those Baneling connections on Marines got more dead than they deserve to, but still ByuN at 77 supply. Army supply, that is, against the 60 or so of Solar. Oh my god, those drones.
So crazy. By the way, nothing's mining at Terran's third base.
Yeah, he lost a lot of workers. I'm actually
So-
surprised he hasn't transferred more down to that third base.
I'm glad that we actually spotted that because, you know, he's still, okay, he's sending SCVs now, I see on the mini-map. But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't start to mine from that, the Zerg is going to just get bigger and bigger.
I feel like ByuN, now's your opportunity, man. You got to move across the map. Almost 100 army supply. Solar is scrambling to try and recoup the losses that he had in an army value. This might be the last real window where ByuN has an army supply and army value advantage here against Solar. Ah, it's +3 he's waiting for. About to finish. Oh, watch out for these lurkers.
Yeah. Where's the scan? Oh,
Yeah,
my
it's
God.
a little bit late.
Might have mishotKeyed that for a second. I think this is almost a bit of a compulsive drop. He's just going to try to go into the main. Maybe not a bad idea. I don't know
like
if there's anything
this.
in here.
Yeah, 4 medevacs in the main base. This is where the hive is and the lurker den. These are 3-3 Marines now as that upgrade just finished. So once again, ByuN with the upgrade advantage. Blinding Cloud coming in, actually. Oh, no, it's going to be the Parasitic Bomb on the medevacs. Oh, no, they are not getting out of here alive, Tasteless. That's an expensive loss.
Yeah, and this is one of these moments where, like, the Terran, the instability kicks in, and then they try to dive into the main, and if it backfires, they're going to lose a lot. But look at this push coming down here. Oh, my God, the Lurker stays alive.
Lurker barely surviving right now, but if ByuN's able to take down this hatchery, he has a real fighting chance. More Banelings streaming in. These are Banelings on creep. ByuN able to focus fire them down. And now there isn't much meat left in Solar's army. ByuN able to maintain this army supply advantage. This hatchery, I think, is going down. Tasteless. Solar's about to be on, what, 2.5 bases? It's an awkward situation. That hatchery still barely alive. Blinding
Yeah.
Cloud able to zone away the Marines, and that's going to allow Solar to take down the siege tanks. A great move. That hatchery with like, what, 100, 200 HP? It's going to survive.
It's a crazy game. He's going to actually get the spawning pool. Yeah, he's going to take that out. And as the push is continuing on,
I think he's doing it.
I think ByuN can win the game now. If you can't keep making Lings in this moment, even though the Lings are like, you know, the weakest units in the fight, they're kind of what let the Banelings and everything else come in and do damage. It's kind of like not being able to make Zealots in a PvT. I think ByuN just won the game.
Solar doesn't even have the larva. He has 4 larva right now. He's floating a ton of money. He can't make the army that he needs to even stand a chance against this force. GG.
Whoa, that was crazy. That was like, Solar was doing the best job ever of holding that. And then at like the last couple seconds, it's like, oh, the hatchery's pretty low, and you're not defending your main enough, and suddenly, I gotta say, ByuN really wowing me. And you know who else is happy about this? Nightmare.
Yeah,
He's
I bet
fist
he is.
pumping right now.
He really wants that rematch, I think, but ByuN with
Yeah.
a great TVZ, trying to pick up some momentum. It was looking shaky for him there in the mid game. You know, the 2-2 timing, it came and went. ByuN's army was still sitting at his 3rd base. He moved across the map maybe 30 or 40 seconds after that and was still able to make something happen there against Solar, and he hit it such a crisp. I mean, it wasn't crisp in that the timing lined up well with ByuN's build himself.
Right.
But Solar had all these moving parts that weren't yet in their right place. He was going for the Hive tech. He was trying to get 2-2, which was only halfway done. He was trying to work his way up to Vipers and up to Lurkers, which weren't yet on the map. And so there was this real vulnerability for Solar, and it was even made worse by the fact that ByuN was able to manage the creep spread so well in the early game. And ByuN was just able to grasp at that one weakness Solar had and just tighten the noose around his neck. And it was a slow bleed where Solar eventually lost hatchery after hatchery after hatchery and then finally bled out. And ByuN now leading 1-0 in this series. One map win away from getting the rematch in the final match of Group D. Solar fighting for his life as we go to Crimson Court.
Let's get ready to rumble, rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. You looking for trouble? Let's get ready to rumble, rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Tell them it's going down now. Let's
We both did it. We both were like, he's going to make barracks in the middle of the map. We're totally wrong. We are apes. That's so funny. No, of course, he's going to do the same build he always does. 3 Reaper, double racks, 3 Reaper.
It's hard to unlearn all of Wings of Liberty and Heart of the
I
Swarm,
know,
man.
I've literally, to this day, every once in a while, a game will start and I'll go, ooh. And it's like,
Oh, it's
no,
not CVE.
no,
It's going making a depot.
He always makes the wall in there. So, by the way, as far as this type of build goes, it does seem like 3 Reapers is officially the way to play this. Do you remember, like, before we had games where it was like, they would just keep making Reapers, or they'd get 5? Or maybe this is before we were casting together. I'm not sure. All these casts kind of bleed together for me. It's kind of a big soup in my brain, so maybe that was before
I
you were
remember a
casting.
lot of games where we saw 4 Reapers.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple where there were 5. It's hard
And there
to
was like a
quite
couple where they
place
just
it.
kept making them the whole time.
Yeah, that I did not cast with you.
Yeah.
I think that would persist in my memories. I would hope.
There was at least one where I'm like, oh, you just kind of keep doing it, and or maybe they got up to like, you know, like 10 or some crazy number like that, 9
You
or
sure
something.
that's not Wings of Liberty, man?
Yeah. I'm
Remember
like,
when they used to throw those
Tasteless, that was
grenades?
Maka Prime. I'm like, sorry guys, I forgot that was a game from 13 years ago.
Reapers used to be so insane.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how they rebalanced it. I don't know if it was
I'm
like the build time or the
fan
stats.
I'm not a big fan of the unit in general. I remember looking at it and being like, okay, it kind of seems like a unit a game designer would think up and be like, yeah, this is my new take on it. And I'm like, well, you better make this thing pretty bad or it's going to be way too strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they did make it way too strong in Wings of Liberty. They used to throw grenades that would do the damage of like a siege tank shot basically on a structure.
Something that can circumvent geography is a little bit insane. You got to make sure that it's going to come with its own limitations.
It's very StarCraft 2 though.
It is.
This is like Reaper is one of those units just kind of exemplifies what StarCraft 2 is all about.
If you remember, I don't know if you saw the announcement of StarCraft 2 that was in Korea, like with Dustin Browder, where they debuted it.
I did see this video, yeah.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. There was like a couple things they showed. I remember for one, like the Zealots would charge in, and I remember hearing the audible like, whoa, from the audience, like, oh, that's crazy. seeing a Colossus that you would right click
Walk up.
and it would walk up a hill, and I'm like, that's insane. And then they also showed the Reaper. The Reaper would hop up. I don't think they showed Zerg. I could be wrong. I think it was like just Terran and Protoss.
Well, those are the cool races anyway.
Yeah, those are the
Nobody likes Zerg.
No one likes Zerg, all right? We would know they're going to win all the tournaments later, okay? They're going to have their glory. For now, we're going to give the glory to the races before the game's out. Terran and Protoss. But yeah, I remember them showing the Reaper. And I remember, like, just, people on Team Liquid arguing like crazy. Like, it was, a real point of controversy.
They did it right, though. I feel like StarCraft 2, for all its flaws, is either the best or the second best RTS of all time, bar none. I mean, it's this or Brood War, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
I say that as a guy that plays Age of Empires, that plays Warcraft, that plays Command and Conquer, that plays
you
really
originally
everything.
came from Warcraft 3, right? That was your first game.
By the way, that Reaper barely surviving. This is kind of an insane
Yeah.
Texas standoff style thing that's happening here in the middle of the map that we rarely get to see. So they're meeting at high noon, the Queens and the Reapers in the middle of the map. Testing their mettle. But yeah, I used to play a lot of Warcraft 3. I actually came from mostly playing Dota 1. That's why I'm a Protoss player now.
That's so funny.
I played a lot of Dota 1. I know Scarlet was another one of those players that I think mostly came from Warcraft 3 and also played a lot of Dota 1. We used to actually, I didn't know Scarlet back then, but we talked about it later where we would play on the same, because back then there was this era where Warcraft 3, all of the games were hosted, the custom games were hosted by people, and then it became bots. It was like the GPT was taking over Warcraft 3 where all of the people had their bots hosting on the servers. And we used to play on like the same Dota 1 bots, so maybe me and Scarlet used to battle a little bit in Dota 1, but a long time ago. By the way, cool build coming out from ByuN. He's going for really fast Banshees, double engineering bay now coming in, stem also faster than usual, and the Marine count ballooning quite high, just completely foregoing the factory units is ByuN. All of this on 3 command centers. Meanwhile, Solar just kind of building up about as he would normally. Double engineering bay, I think a little bit faster, a touch faster than it was in the previous game, especially with respect to ByuN's opening. It's going to be maybe like a 15 or 20 second window if both players start their 1-1 immediately upon these buildings completing. But I wonder what these Banshees are going to be able to get done. It's rare that you see, I think, Banshees paired up with Marines like this. This is a unit that I kind of sequester in my brain with Hellions in this matchup. As you go Hellions, and that's the pairing with the Banshees. Like if the Hellions are the main course, the Banshees, like the sommelier brings out the wine that goes along with it, right? But having this come through, able to get a couple of drone kills. Even gonna get does not get the third one. Some nice micro by both these guys this game.
Yeah, so far really clean here.
But it's just unusual to see one Banshee like this, isn't it? No cloak, just one Banshee.
Well,
with a lot of bio.
I think that when you see, but I think maybe that's to kind of impact the Zerg's behavior, right? Because you're right, we don't normally have one Banshee that comes out, and so maybe they want the Zerg to overreact, and you can kind of fill that tech in. And that extra money that's not spent on Banshees and Cloak with something else. Because now there's going to be this push coming down here. This is a push. It's kind of funny. This is hitting like actually a little bit before the 4th base finishes. Maybe this can force a cancel.
Yeah, I think this is kind of similar to the Hellbat Marine push before, although we'll see. That is a lot of Lings. I think this is mostly designed just to try and pick off some Queens, force some more production in terms of military. Oh, be careful with that medevac.
It seemed like he misclicked for a second.
But that was like almost an anti-timing there for ByuN. It's just like the previous push where you're doing this because you have everything else building up behind it. 1-1 wasn't done yet. Combat shields had only just begun. That push never designed to kill the hatchery or kill a gross number of Queens. It's just something that kind of checks the greed of the Zerg. And ByuN did that pretty successfully, although it was quite scary with that one low HP medevac. And as a result, the worker lead here for Solar actually not that substantial. And ByuN is building up to a pretty nice timing back at home. 2-2 still starting.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, late with the 2-2. Look at this. Only just now starting it. So Solar's been able to catch up.
It seems like ByuN's trying to control this 6 o'clock spot so that you can't grow in there. But already, Solar's going to finish a hatchery up here in the top left. Solar's definitely getting to where he needs to be. Let's not forget how Game 1 ended, because it actually looked like Solar was having this magnificent hold and great counterattacks. And then in the course of maybe like almost a minute and 30 seconds, the game got turned on its head. And ByuN took control.
And that was at that critical moment where Solar was just trying to fill out all the pieces of his puzzle, all of his tech tree. And ByuN was just able to completely sever his economy before he came online. And I wonder if this is kind of going to be the same story. I feel like Solar is playing this considerably better than the previous game. He's not, maybe not droning quite as hard, but his upgrades are faster. Yet he's not going to have the same window that he had previously. 2-2 for Zerg is the same as 2-2 for Terran. And also the Hive tech feels like it's also considerably faster. That Hive is almost done already. Just here on Ling Bane, and that's kind of the virtue of not going Hydras here, is you don't have to spend all that resource on that. You don't have to get all the Hydras upgrades. You don't need to morph these relatively expensive units. Just make enough Ling Bane to hand off the aggression, and now the Hive is done. Adrenal Gland's going to get started here in a moment. So there already has a pretty considerable army here in the front.
Yeah, I guess that depot's going to get canceled here.
Ultra's coming in from Solar. Okay,
yeah,
this is cool.
This is a very different game. A very different game here from Solar.
These are fast Ultras, man.
Yeah, trying to go for a very different comp. Kind of reminds me of a StarCraft 1 game. You know, you get up to about 4 to 5 bases, and then Ultralisks come in. Sometimes you can even do it with 3 bases.
Kind of flabbergasted by these distance mining mules, but Solar actually going to peek forward here. A little over ambitious. Does get the 1 siege tank with the Lings on the left side, but those Banelings took a lot of damage. 102 Lings have gone down. 4 Marines have gone down.
It seems like upgrades on both sides are totally synced up. Look at this. They're
Yeah.
literally going to finish within seconds of each other. So it doesn't seem like in this game anybody's going to really have any kind of major upgrade advantage or disadvantage.
So Solar is going into Ultralisks and also getting a Greater Spire.
Yeah,
I'm a little confused.
Well, this is definitely a novel tech, right? I think this cast might be a little bit more exploratory.
Is he going to go for maybe just 1 or 2 Broodlords, just trying to kind of like siege down this forward base for ByuN, like the same way you would with a siege tank?
Yeah, or like, you know, those Ravagers that were hitting that gas. And
Right.
maybe he just wants to take out the high-value gas with the Broodlords and kind of draw, like, fish out the Terran into a fight.
That might be that might be it, because he's getting Chitinous Plating, he's getting the Ultralisk armor upgrade. I want to see how many Corruptors he makes. Oh, he has 8 already, so he's actually going to make a fair number of Broods. It's not just going to be a couple. It's rare that you see a Zerg fill out the tech tree like this so quickly.
This is a very different game. I'm really curious how this goes. Now, let's also keep in mind, like, Solar has not won a game today, and he got smashed by ByuN in that last game. So, like, this doesn't feel like a build where he's like, let's try this, let's run this build and see what happens.
Look at these Overlords like hiding in the foliage under this tree, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, 8 Broods morphing in. First Ultralisk in production as Solar is maxed. And ByuN is almost playing this Morrow-esque. He's building 3 more command centers. He has sensor towers in all these different areas of the map. And now he sees the Broods. And I don't know if he really has the answer for it. It's only 1 starport, I think. We only have 2 Vikings on the map. Even the medevac count isn't that high. It's really just Ghosts that are going to be the main anti-air here for ByuN, but he only has, what, 5 of them? This is a deadly push, Tasteless. I don't know if ByuN has the army to actually stop this.
And the counterattack is pretty measly. It doesn't seem like there's any tech to directly address this, and so he could end up just getting pushed away. I mean, I see, what, is that 2 Vikings underneath the Marines? Kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, 2 Vikings in total. One of them, I believe, got abducted and taken out earlier, but almost all the siege tanks have fallen here for ByuN, and so suddenly this Ling Bane mix is able to get so much damage done. 30 SCVs already falling, both to the Broods here in the front and the Banelings in the back, as ByuN's economy basically just got cut in half. And 4 more Ultras coming in here for Solar. He is tagging this so well. I mean, the Broodlords, they are trading up, but they've already done their job. The siege tank count, it's all the way down at 3. Vikings are getting forced out here from Terran, and once this Remax comes in, I don't know how ByuN survives against 5 Ultras and all of these Cracklings with the limited splash damage he has.
It's kind of crazy. By the way, talk about a game where ByuN never really had his moment here. I'm not saying the game's going to end, by the way, but it's really just been, you know, Solar asserting himself, absolutely making sure that there are no soft spots in his position. And it's just ByuN kind of being abused over at this expansion. A lot of Banes are being made, so I think it's going to go from, like, harass and prodding into a full-on attempt to wipe this position out.
Yeah, but Solar isn't really playing for the Remax that much. He's just trying to build the highest value army he possibly can. And these Brutes absolutely did their job this game because now the Ultras are coming in. ByuN sees them, and these are all the siege tanks right here in the front. The Ling Baneling also flooding in. Oh my goodness, the connections. Very close to getting on top of those ghosts. Only a handful of them left, 6 in total. These Ultras just continuing to push forward. There isn't much support for the Ultras on the ground, but just look at the supplies. GG.
GG. Well done by Solar. A much more commanding performance.
Yeah, and what a novel approach on that map, too. A map that is pretty hard for Zerg, honestly. Going into both Greater Spire and Ultralisk, making 8 Broods, and just basically using them to disrupt the mining, sever the economy of the Terran, and also eliminate the majority of the splash damage, and then the Remax onto Ultra Ling Bane.
Right.
So strong, just taking advantage of everything that the Broodlords accomplished. That is a great way to utilize Broodlords, and you can't do that on every map. That is a really smart move to kind of abuse the terrain and the way that Terran is naturally expanding towards you. Just smart play from Solar.
Yeah, I mean, Solar, you know, again, a very different game. I think he not only played the opponent, he played the map and the play style of ByuN perfectly well. Now it's going to go into post-youth, which is, I guess, when you're just a glimmer in your mom's eye. I don't know what
It's going to be us in a couple of years, Tasteless.
Guys, we're going to go to this final match. Remember, the loser is knocked out of the GSL. Solar versus ByuN. Game 3 starting now here, and the winner goes on to face off against Nightmare in the final match.
Let's get ready to rumble, rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. You looking for trouble? Let's get ready to rumble, rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Tell them it's going down now. Let's.
Okay, Solar here in the top right, ByuN in the bottom left.
Have we casted post-youth in GSL yet?
No, I don't think so.
Because this is one of the maps that gets vetoed the most.
Well, you know, it's
for
funny.
obvious reasons.
Every season there's a map that's just going to be the least popular. Usually it has the most weird features, and it'll get vetoed over and over. And sometimes there's like almost a mini game that's played where one guy will just assume that like the other player will veto the bad map, so then he can veto another map that he doesn't like, and sometimes both players do it. And then it ends up where that map isn't vetoed, and it comes out later on.
Maybe that's the case here. So many cheese signs.
There we
That's
go.
a second cheese sign.
Zergling's going to eat the cheese that time.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. The cheese is the same size as Zergling, too.
But if you don't play the ladder, and if you don't see this map very often because it's very often banned in tournaments, the strange feature here on Post-Youth is that the main base kind of plays like a 2v2 map. You have kind of this natural pocket. It's not even really a pocket. It's just a second base in the main with 6 mineral patches. 3 of them are gold patches. You see that right now on the screen. Yeah, and this isn't something that I don't think we've ever really seen in StarCraft 2 history. It's a very unique base layout. ByuN's going to go for that expansion first. Surprisingly to me, Solar is not going for the gold base in the main. He's instead taking basically, I guess, there isn't really a triangle third on this one. It's kind of it's an awkward shape.
Yeah,
it's not equilateral. It's like isosceles. I don't know my geometry, man. I got a B in that in high school. That's American geometry. That's probably failing in any European classroom. But yeah, interesting choice here by Solar to go for the forward expansion and then take the in-base natural just now here at like the, 2-minute, 20-second mark or so. Interesting approach. Maybe because he was afraid of ByuN going for 2 Rex Reaper, because that kind of wouldn't make sense. It's hard for the Reapers to kill the first hatch.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is very safe. Hard to get the read. I mean, we don't cast this game
or this
map very often,
and here's
right?
the thing, it's probably like not going to be in the next season of GSL. We might not see it again. So.
I would be surprised if it was.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know. I think it's always good to have these kind of weird maps because I think it forces us to, first of all, it forces the players to look at the game differently, which then forces us to understand the game in a different way. But the reality is pros will almost always veto it because they want to play on the maps they've always played on, right? I mean, I talk about it as a caster, and then whenever there's a new map in the map pool online for ladder, I'll veto it. You know what I mean? Even though I'm like, no, we need more maps, we got to play new stuff. But like, even when I'm playing, I'm like, okay, so we got to, you know, I don't want to have to figure something else new out. It's going to be so much work.
See, you ever watch one of these movies where like just someone is going through hardship the entire time, and it's a great movie, by the way. Nice scout there by Solar. He sees the command center. But you watch these movies where, what was that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio where he fights the bear?
Fights the iceberg, the Titanic. No, that was the Remnant, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, the Remnant. That was DiCaprio, right? I'm terrible with actors and their names.
100%. Yeah.
He went through it, man. He struggled. I don't want to fight a bear. I will watch the movie of the guy fighting the bear. That's the same with me watching the StarCraft 2 games.
Yeah.
I don't want to play on post-youth. I will veto this. I want the pro gamers to struggle and give me a unique viewing experience. For me as a caster, for me as a viewer, I want to live vicariously through this without any of the bad parts. I just want to enjoy the journey that they have to suffer through.
Right.
And sometimes we get maps, they aren't quite balanced. I mean, this is maybe one of the worst map pools for Zerg we've had in a very long time. I think a lot of players would agree with that. But for me as an outsider, I like the experimentation. I like how unique the gameplay can be. And also, we don't see this map very often because players veto it, but we're probably going to see it in the GSL finals. It's a best of 7, you know?
Well, that's usually when maps like this emerge, where it's like, oh, okay, now we finally have enough. It's a best of 7 now, so we're finally going to end up actually seeing this map.
And I like that. I like how it mixes things up a little bit, especially in the later stages of the tournaments when you go into best of 5s and best of 7s. So at least that's my 2 cents as somebody who asked me 6 years ago when I was trying to compete in this game, and I'd be like, no, I hate it. Never do that again.
Yeah. No, once you start casting or just watching, you're like, no, I want to see what they could do on these maps.
The TOs are buffoons. They should never put this tournament thing. I'm going to tweet about this. But yeah.
So back at home, I mean, it's just going to be more and more macro. We don't really know, by the way, the implications yet of like just having a gold minerals in your base. Obviously, well, I guess we know the mathematical implications is that you're going to have way more minerals. But obviously that affects different races. Like it seems like Terran can just kind of spike up in more Marines. Where Zerg, I'm not so sure. I guess it would be pretty comfortable if you went Roach Ravager, but we don't have that this game. It's melee attack upgrades.
I don't know exactly how the math works on it, but because there's only 6 patches, I think once it's fully saturated, it's almost equivalent to a blue base. It just takes a little bit less workers. So it's kind of like a pacing thing. Yeah. And then also because there's only 6 minerals, it mines out way faster, especially half of them are gold.
True.
So it's it's a little awkward to macro with. By the way, not the only gold base on post-youth either, as you see Solar expanding to the gold base in the center of the map. Another relatively quiet start from both these guys.
Okay, so another push out here. And this is where you can really create some threats over here on that gold base. I mean, it's pretty clear Solar's not going to save this. Yeah. Barely cancels that just in the nick of time here. He's going to keep pushing up.
He has some momentum here. There's no Bailings actually more. The second stim, because there is no combat shield, is very expensive, and that's why you see ByuN walking back. Yeah. But that is some nice momentum play to get 7 workers.
Well, to cut off that hatchery as well.
Kill that hatchery. Get a lot of damage done. This is something that ByuN wasn't really able to do successfully in the previous game.
This is by far his best move coming out here. He's going to send a tank in here, which usually telegraphs a kind of committed push. He wants to try to get some sort of foothold over here.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why ByuN is able to do this but wasn't able to in the previous 2 games is he hasn't really been quite as greedy. He did still go for the really fast third command center, but only 1 engineering base. It's just a +1 timing attack. Well, all these Marines, and it's why his army's really ballooned so much. By the way, Solar, oh my goodness, those queens. No, you gotta move command him away. Another queen almost falling there. This is so scary, man. That could be game-ending. Could be huge damage. Nice micro
are going to come up here, and again, there's a lot more Marines and tanks in the background. A lot of Banes are going to get picked off here in the back. Way more squishy. And he's going to wrap around, I think, the gold side over here. Yeah, he's going to try to push here from the bottom.
Yeah, some good micro on both sides, but ByuN's standing army right now, I like it a little bit more. Even though Solar has 1-1 to the 1-0 here of ByuN in terms of upgrades, 55 Marines like this, Bailing speed is about to finish, but if these Bailings don't get the connections that they need, or if this run by doesn't get the damage that it needs to, Solar could be in a lot of trouble because his worker lead, it's not that substantial, and ByuN has a 50% army supply advantage right now, which is huge.
He actually just lost that command center. It was not canceled. Yeah, it was actually killed off, which is wild. The push is going to come up here with the tanks. Yeah, this is a little bit of an uncomfortable spot. Terran has like dominion over all of this area down here. He's going to siege up. There are Banes, but there's going to be at least 3 tanks that I saw that can hit this from there.
It's just such a tough fight here for Solar. He's going to try and get the surround right now. Ling's flanking in the middle on top of the siege tanks, but there's a lot of Marines to guard them. Padding backwards, the siege tank's almost a wall here against the Baylings, and ByuN, one of the best players in the world at focusing down Baylings, but I don't know if you can do it against that amount. At the same time, look at this. This expansion here for Sword is getting absolutely ravaged by 2 medevacs worth of Marines. 12 drones are going to fall, basically equalizing the worker counts. ByuN's not done yet either. He's getting, what, even more drones, trying to get the hatchery too, and now he's going to come back into this expansion. ByuN is everywhere, Tasteless.
It's so important that Solar holds this right now, or he may just lose control of this game. Beautiful
he
targeting
has no
there.
Baylings left. It's just pure Ling. I think ByuN might have just done it.
I think he just won the game here.
Oh my God, what an upset. Solar here in the elimination match. Potentially the first player out from Group D, and in fact he will be, as ByuN takes the 2-1 win, and one fell swoop with a nice shakeup and build, just really leaning in to the Marine count there is ByuN.
That was beautiful. I gotta say,
damn, what a
I am
push.
stunned that Solar got knocked out first. I know I was telling everybody that. I'm like, hey guys, I mean, just be ready. He might be eliminated, but I didn't really believe it. I thought, no way. Well, I mean, what a change of pace. And Solar's been consistently, you know, always top 2 Zergs in Korea for a long time here.
What a comeback there by ByuN in this series. Game 2 and Game 3 played really well. 2 different play styles. Or Game 1 and Game 3, excuse me.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that build that Solar did with the Brood Lords was the first time. I'm all fumbled up, yeah. But
it happens.
Man, what a series there by ByuN. Guys, when we get back, we'll find out if ByuN can win the rematch against Nightmare in the final match of Group D. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. God, I'm low. God, my soul. All of my thoughts be dark like coal. Face down in the water, I float. I try to speak my mind, but I choke. I'm on the tightrope. Tired, I can't cope. No lying, no hope. The lying might show. Up to the party, y'all don't want smoke. Energize the body, raise up the arm. Right now, tell me who you are, get in the car. Right now, reach for the stars, I want it all. Right now, tell me who you are, get in the car. Right now, reach for the stars, I want it all. Right now, tell me who you are, get in the car. Right now, reach for the stars, I want it all. Right now, just into the car, fighting no war. Right now, pushing with y'all, locked in the storm. Right, put your feet on the ground, look around. It's the siege and we back in your town, burning it down. You've been waiting too long for the sound. Time is now, got you hanging on every single word, verb and now. Give you what you been waiting for now, what you praying for. This the type of we slaving for. Get you another hit, I know you craving more. I'm in this, but they go Super Saiyan boy. I am a higher being, whole world at my command. I got the whole damn planet here in the palm of my hand. Watch out, back out, wait up, wake up, stay up, they gon' get it, they gon' take us, raise up, we got color, they try and gray us, you are not listening to the greatest. Right now.